Salutations, my fellow dudes and dudettes, and welcome to the finale of Kirby's Dreamland. Today we're starting to stage 4, and yes, I did say the final part. As I mentioned in the first part, there's only 5 levels, and this part is entirely level 4s and level 4s. Why did I make it plural? Level 4 and 5, and 5 is actually really short when you think about it. It's not even a level when I think about it, but that's later. Right now we got Bubbly Clouds, and Bubbly Clouds is obviously the most dangerous level because you got these enemies, and like the first 3 stages, you've been able to just inhale every single enemy that you could just come across and just shoot it back out at another enemy. Not the case here. Those guys actually, if you try to inhale them, they'll actually transform and actively attack Kirby. Otherwise, they're pretty docile. They'll ignore you. I also like to comment on the fact that I didn't comment on the fact that was redundant. That enemy makes no sense to me right there. During my test playthrough, that enemy was facing the opposite direction, and then the second I pressed the record button, I guess it became self-aware that I was on my way or something. So it managed to get the jump on me. And as you can see by my health, I've been kind of reckless. You also might have noticed the score right above my health, and there goes my other death. I believe that's the only other death in the game. I think, to my knowledge, I think I only died like twice, which isn't that big of a deal. Just make sure you don't die like in the early game, because just don't. Because that would imply you're not one for platformers. Go through here, and you can find some goodies. And now we can shoot unlimited amounts of air. It sort of makes traveling a little bit awkward because, not for nothing, you are faster on the ground because hovering can be a little bit awkward at times, and not to mention hovering just slows down your thing anyways. Got a mini boss here. I guess we would call him Mini Kracko. He shoots a bunch of like bombs all over the place. Just stick to the left side and you should be able to dodge him easily. And whatever enemies he spits out, just suck them in and then just shoot it right back at him. No threat at all. But yeah, like I was saying, there's a score above the health meter. It doesn't do anything as far as I'm concerned. It's not like the Sonic games where or at least Sonic 2 and beyond. We're talking classic, mind you, where the score can actually get you extra lives the higher it is. But in this case, it doesn't do anything. It's like Sonic 1 and I guess the Mario series, because the Mario series never did anything with score besides it just being a high score. Careful with these spikes, they're pretty dangerous. That's the other thing with this level, as I mentioned, this is the most dangerous level. There's bottomless pits throughout the beginning of the level, and there are spikes all over the place. This could be a little bit unnerving because Kirby can't run very fast in this game. Don't get overconfident and try to just run over those platforms. Kirby will just fall right down. Now we're gonna hover all the way up here, and if you know your Kirby lore, the moon hides all the secrets. I'm not sure why they just. What's your infatuation with the moon, guys at HAL? I don't know if HAL is still a thing anymore, but anyway, we got the boss, Kracko. Kracko might actually be the hardest boss in the game, for one reason and one reason only. For starters, he sends out enemies, obviously, that you can shoot back at him. He's also got this beam attack that surrounds him entirely. And then he also has this attack where he can sort of dive bomb you like that. And then Like, there'll be times where he dive bombs you, and then almost immediately he'll do it again. Like, my test playthrough was an absolute nightmare with this guy, because the frames you have to avoid that attack can be rather small at times. But otherwise, that's it. Stand on the opposite side to avoid his beam attack. You just gotta watch out for when he dives at you, because that is really dangerous. And now we're at the final stage, Mount Dedede. Like I said, this isn't much of a stage, which is a shame, but this is the first game in the series. I'm not expecting much. I gotta wonder, did Mario Land come out around this time? Now, apparently, instead of a level, we're just being asked to go through a boss rush and fight all the bosses again, while also going through sections that are pretty identical to its to the actual levels themselves. And in this case, I chose to do Kracko first, just to get him out of the way. My video footage is giving me issues, I don't know why. But yeah, this is all there is to it. I mean, this is kind of a theme, an ongoing theme with the Kirby franchise. There's always like a boss rush near the end of the game. I guess I should go into my Kirby experience while we're going through this boss rush. I have very little Kirby experience. I didn't play this game very much, and the next game that I'm going to be Let's Playing, it was actually the first time I was actually playing through it. It's quite enjoyable so far. I didn't finish recording all of it, but still, I've been enjoying the next game, the next Kirby game. I sort of gave that away. What's coming up next after this game is over, but that would be kind of silly to play this game and immediately just move on to something else. But my Kirby experience didn't exactly go very far, or it's not very expansive. If I'm correct, the first Kirby game I actually played was the spin-off on the GameCube, you all know as Kirby Air Ride. Fantastic multiplayer game. Actually, yeah, I do. I still have my copy, but that's how I was introduced to the Kirby series. Kirby Air Ride. I think it was about a year or two later where I played Kirby's Return to Dreamland, which was this, I guess, a return to form, considering all the spin-offs that Kirby had. Because like after Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards, we don't get another traditional Kirby game until that one, Return to Dreamland, and that was the first proper Kirby game I actually started out with. Next, I played Amazing Mirror, which I actually like more than some people do. I didn't understand what a Metroidvania was back then. That's probably why it didn't bother me. Actually, in that case, that should bother me more. Whatever. Then I ended up playing 3DS games, Triple Deluxe Robobot. I think I did manage to eventually play this game. A little around the time I was in my Kirby high with Triple Deluxe, because I was loving the heck out of it. It's a fantastic time. In fact, to get this out of the way now, Kirby's reputation as a series is actually pretty darn good. Like there's like no general down. There's no game that I would consider to be bad. I suppose Dreamland 2 and 3 are a bit controversial, but considering how the gameplay is quite different in those games, but I'll give my opinions on those when we get to those. It'll be my first time actually playing through those too, so I'll have a fresh opinion, if that means anything. Anyway, we got the final boss. We got King Dedede. He's got a lot of health, but don't be alarmed by that. He's actually really simple. He's got a few attacks, but nothing to write home about. He's got this body slam, Whenever he body slams, he'll release a little star. You suck it up, you shoot it. There you go. He also has this hammer attack. What I like to do is I like to lure him into attacking Kirby, and just like jumping out of the way. He also has his inhale ability. Avoid it. It's not really too bad. Stay on. Usually he's on one side of the on one side of the screen when he does it. Just go on the other. And he also does his little slide attack, which is not too bad. Like I said, Krako's the only real hard boss in this game. I guess this boss could be a little bit tough, especially considering how much HP he has, because he's got a lot. So that boss fight could actually take you a bit of good amount of time. And that's it. That is literally it. That was the end of Kirby's Dreamland. I guess my commentary is quite symbolic with this game overall, because I don't feel much with this game. I mean, it's a fine enough game. It's ridiculously short, and I think that's the biggest problem. Because I believe Mario Land came out a little bit before this. I could be wrong about that. I didn't check my resources, but like Mario Land was at least longer than this. It's still a short game, but I don't know. Like this game just doesn't do anything for me, and it's really simple when you break it down, because you could jump, you could float, and you could suck it. You can inhale enemies, and you can shoot them back out. Thankfully, the next game actually introduces Kirby's like main attraction, the reason why you even want to bother to pick up the series. But otherwise, Kirby's Dreamland, it's fine. Also, when you beat the game, you get this little thing. You can do this even before you beat the game for the first time. This will unlock extra game. This will essentially make all the levels a lot harder, having a lot more Gordos, if that means anything to you. So if you want this game to actually be a challenge, because it will be a challenge, I recommend it. At the very least, you'll get more of the out of the experience, despite what little experience there is. But you do you. That's all I got to say. But yeah, that's Kirby's Dreamland. Yeah, that's it. All right. With that said, I'll see you next time for the next entry in the Kirby series, Kirby's Adventure. So until then, I'm signing to 007. I got a juice. That outro was really awkward.